In this lecture, we cover all things defending, and we begin with armor class. So, as we have seen before, generally speaking, a check will succeed if it meets or exceeds what the difficulty class that is assigned to it. So, if CTEC DC is a non-negative number. Analogous to that, just as we have introduced attack roll in previous lecture, and we said attack roll is a special kind of check, there is also a special kind of DC that corresponds to attack roll, and that is the armor class. So attack roll will succeed if it meets or exceeds AC. So armor class is defined as a special kind of DC that measures, so it quantifies how hard it is for enemies to hit you. And once you know how to make attack rolls, getting AC is very easy. So if you have if this is your formula for attack roll, then to get AC from there, all you have to do is, instead of a D20, replace it with a 10. Your modifier is going to be dexterity modifier for it, and so that's the formula there. Normally, your proficiency bonus would come from armor category that you're proficient with, light, medium, and so on. Item bonus will come from the item itself, so from armor, right? All other penalties and bonuses apply as usual. One caveat, though, is that dexterity modifier is actually capped by the armor. So if you have a look at whatever armor you have, you need to look up that statistic and make sure it does not exceed that. Saving throws, or saves, are a measure of your ability to resist harmful effects, like anything that causes damage, condition, or other kinds of afflictions. And there are in Pathfinder 2e, there are 3 kinds of saving throws that you need to be aware of, and that is fortitude save, reflex save, and will save. If successful, fortitude save reduces impact of the body, so abilities and afflictions that impact it. It uses the Constitution modifier, is the attribute modifier that you would use for it. Reflex save is to do with how quickly you can respond to unexpected circumstances or situations. That uses dexterity modifier. And will save measures your ability to resist attacks on mind and spirit, and that would be, you'd be using your wisdom modifier for it. So here are the 3 equations put together. You will typically always have something to put down as your proficiency modifier. If you're not sure, it'll come from your class, so you will be at least trained at the bare minimum in each of the 3. So you will always have some number to place here. Item bonuses might come from things like magic items, or if the armor has resilient property to it, and other bonuses and penalties apply as usual. Just as we've had with previous rolls, there is the associated DC with it. So they're the save DCs, and you get them exactly as you would expect at this point. So difficulty class fortitude, difficulty class reflex, and will. All you have to do is just replace this number with a 10, and that's it. Couple of points to note about saving throws. Normally, saves do not require you to use action or reaction, unless you're recovering from a condition, such as, for example, sickened. You will be making fortitude save each turn to see if you can recover from it. Basic saving throws are not really a special or separate category or saving throws, but more like a notational convention, if you will. So, but this is one of those things that's better if I show you rather than tell you. So, first of all, non-basic saving throws are the ones we've discussed so far, right? Normally, this is how they would look, how they would be listed, right? Um, so here is a revealing light spell, level 2 spell, and you can see where it says defense. You see the word reflex written. So you do a reflex save by the formula we've seen, and then you have critical success, success, failure. So you have the explanation of what happens to the target depending on the outcome. Basic saving throw, on the other hand, when you see the word basic, what that means is that the outcomes are understood to be these four. You take no damage, take half the damage, full damage, double the damage. Those are the outcomes. So it's not written explicitly, but it's almost like a notational convention that if you see that word, that's what that means. And in fact, sometimes even spells and abilities that are not exactly basic, as in they're just slightly, they might have some additional effect added to them, they're still listed as basic just for brevity. So what it means is, say here, you under defense, you have the word basic. It says basic reflex. So that means that those four effects apply: no damage, half damage, full damage, double the damage. But then it also has this other stuff. So what that means is, the way you should read this is, oh, by the way, in addition to those four, on a failure, this also happens. Just so you know. We now move to perception and initiative. Perception measures your environmental awareness, and any check that's based on your awareness is called a perception check. So formula for a perception check is here. And as you can see, we use wisdom modifier, attribute modifier when making a perception check. Typically, there will always be some proficiency bonus here. So every creature is at least trained in perception. Items can grant bonuses here as well, although that tends to be very particular situations, like a fine. If you're using a fine spyglass when attempting to see long distance, it's very situation specific. Item and untyped penalties to perception are rare. Perception DC, exactly the same formula. So you just take these two and you replace them. You replace D20 with a 10 and you get a perception DC. Perception is also used to get initiative order, which is sequence in which participants take their turn during a combat encounter. So perception is usually used, but it doesn't have to be. Occasionally, you can a skill check can be used instead, but the process is still the same. So it's always, instead of comparing against DC, everyone's ranked according to the role that they've had, and that's the order of that everyone takes their turn. Skill checks. Skill checks are made when you're taking action or using an action that is granted by the relevant skill. So if you consult your player core textbook, you'll see that athletics grants you actions, for example, like climb, grapple, swim, and so on. Intimidation, you can use actions like coerce, demoralize, and so on. So the list of all the actions, if you look for the table like this, you will see all of them listed, as well as what are their, in the circumstances in which they're used. Are they during encounters? Are they exploration, downtime, and so on? Formula for skill check is exactly the same like any other check. And we will now just discuss briefly each of the modifier to look out for. So attribute modifier will be the key ability modifier for the skill that you are using. Your proficiency will be your proficiency with that skill. Item bonus can come from something like a tool that's related to the skill, if you're using crafting tools or picking a lock or something like that. Circumstance bonus can be if someone's helping you, or status if you have some kind of magical effect on you that will give you a bonus to whatever it is that you're trying to do. Penalties apply as usual. And also, as we've said before, multiple attack penalties can apply. In fact, they're not just for striking, they also apply for whenever action has attack trait, and that can include some skill actions as well, so keep an eye out for that. And now that we've covered skill checks, can you guess what is the next thing I'm going to show you? Yep, that's right, skill DC. So you take the 20, replace it by 10, and you get a DC check for the skill that you are using. Other checks worth noting, so we've already spoken about flat checks. So they're the simplest kind of checks because you don't apply any modifier to it, you just roll a dice and that's the outcome. So obviously things that are just entirely probabilistic, things that have nothing to do with your character's stats. The other, again, kind of a check, but not really a special category, is the secret check. And any check can be really made a secret. It just means that you don't know what the result or the effects are because they're hidden from you. So they're hidden from the player. GM would describe the effect instead. So there are two possibilities here, or two levels of ignorance, let's say. So you can know that a secret check takes place, even though you don't know what the outcome is. Let's say recall knowledge or seek you, and then in that case, if you wish to activate fortune misfortune effect, you can tell GM to do that for you. In the outcome that you actually don't even know that secret check takes place, which can happen under certain circumstances, in that case, GM would apply this effect for you on your behalf automatically.